Okay, so whether you are a leader interested in strategic innovation, or if you are a student or designer interested in learning how to innovate with speed and simplicity, or if you are a startup interested in learning your value and opportunity in the marketplace, then this is for you. Okay, so my name is Bernard Schoppman. I am on the east coast of Australia in an area called the Gold Coast and Northern Rivers. I promised to bring you a bunch of videos on design thinking. Today, what specifically I want to dive a little bit deeper into is Billboard design thinking, the particular flavor we are very interested in. Again, when we're talking any sorts of design thinking, we're talking workshops really at the core. And with Billboard design thinking specifically, what you would use it for is when you are designing something new, you are giving something a complete overhaul, or you are completely stuck or you're not getting flow with something and you need to start getting flow, you need to start getting movement in it. Okay, let me talk to you about the sorts of workshops that we've done with Billboard design, because it is, at its core, it's fairly different to your typical design thinking. Okay, so we've gone into an organization, a startup, health organization, where we needed to redesign the experience of their mobile phone app because it wasn't currently fit for purpose. So we used Billboard design thinking for that. We've gone into a human resources department in a retail organization and looked at their strategy over the next 6 quarters and what projects they could be doing and should be doing and how we would organize them across quarters. We've gone into a global mining company with 6 of their global HR managers and worked out how to redesign performance management across the globe. We've gone into a HR team and reprocess designed the new way of working for them. We've gone into larger groups of organizations in government and in the health industry to work out across a large group of people what solutions were available or what one solution was that they wanted to drive towards. Okay, so remember in Billboard design thinking, we have 5 particular components. We've got prepare, design, conduct, document, and follow up. Now in prepare is where we're doing a lot of interviews and questionnaires amongst a host of other things. In the design phase of the Billboard design thinking, this I find the most interesting, coming from a design sort of background and a visual programming design sort of background. Putting together that billboard requires a little bit of creativity and a bit of play to actually make sure that those sequences flow and it's going to drive towards the end result or the end goal the organization is looking for. Conduct is just literally conducting that workshop with the participants. Then we're documenting. So at the end of that workshop, I need to wrap that up and write a report on how that workshop flowed, the insights that we found, and the goal or the experience design that was identified at the end. And then there's follow-up. Now, follow-up's all about driving the business case through and providing support for the business where possible to help them drive that business case through. Because everything we do in design thinking, it's about a workshop. It's about coming up with insights, data, information, value, design, whatever it might be, to drive a business case through the organization. Okay, let me give you some examples, just 4 sorts of, let me dive deeper into 4 of the workshops that we've done. Standard design thinking with a startup organization. They were 3 in 12 months, they became 12. The way we designed that particular billboard was initially we did the problem matrix. So we identified all the problems they could be solving as an organization, and on a scale of doability and cost, which ones were the ones that were a lower hanging fruit and they should be solving. Then we actually looked at the problem from a perspective of what are the primary and secondary influences on those core problems, and is there a bigger problem that's a primary or secondary influencer that they should be solving instead of the primary problem. Then we looked at the persona and we identified, well, who is having these primary problems? What is the persona? What are the personas that are having these problems? And then what journey are they on? So we could clearly articulate the pains they were going through and the touch points we needed to identify and where we could engage with our solutions. Then we actually identified all the solutions that could potentially be out there, whether they be off the shelf or something we would have to create. And then we went into a sketching session and a prototyping session to identify what were we actually going to design and build. So that's one example. A second example was a new process that needed to be defined for a HR organization and a retail organization. And the way that billboard looked was it involved a investigation proportion. So when work was to come into the HR team, how were they going to quickly investigate it over a 1 to 5 minute duration? They identified that second deep dive as being an opportunity model canvas. So how do we go into this opportunity, dig up all the pieces that we need as a process, as a step-by-step process, and then at the end of that process, with X amount of stakeholders in the room, identify, is this a go or no-go situation? And of course, the third stage to that billboard was actually executing the project. So what sort of process methodologies were we going to bring in? How were we going to play and execute with those process methodologies, and what artifacts was it going to produce? So that's using billboard design thinking to identify a new way of working. Okay, so let me go into how we use billboard design thinking for larger groups of people. So the example I want to talk about is a government organization looking at 25 people across 5 separate departments, needing to identify one specific design to satisfy all 5 different departments and 25 people. So what we did on the first day there was we grouped people into particular departments. We ran through a billboard design to allow them to get them across that problem space. And then on the second day, what we did was we implemented a method we are calling captain's table, where we identified captains to work from each table and work together and identify the single solution design and how it should look. So this is the value of design thinking, and this is where it fits in on the side, I guess, or above or below to your traditional design thinking, because now we're talking about not running through the same process, but actually creating one process, but within that one process, a step where you can bespoke design a billboard that is purpose built to drive towards a goal. So that's the specific difference between your regular design thinking and billboard design thinking. Now, pretty soon, Sean McGuire and I will have a book that we have just about finished writing and we'll be publishing that out soon, that tells you all about design thinking and how to become a moderator in this style of thinking. So that's all I have for you today. Tomorrow I'll be back again with something new on design thinking. See you then.